documentaries have been favourite viewing during the pandemic, and we report on one of the most popular, Becoming, which follows former First Lady Michelle Obama on a national book tour. Also featured a documentary on families of faith who have an LGBTQ child. Join me, Tom Brooks, for Talking Movies on BBC World News.
Has coronavirus changed our values and the way we live our lives? And could we build a more caring society and maintain a deeper sense of community? That's Global Questions with me, Zainab Badawi. Coronavirus crisis, will the world be a better place? Here on BBC World News. As the coronavirus pandemic continues, BBC News has in-depth coverage.
Without the people, there is no party. The economic impact of this empty strip is rippling across the city.
For Greece and North Mitchell-Tumble was nearly a symbolic field.
This is Delhi Airport, and the flights are resuming after being shut down for 2 months.
See the headlines as they happen with breaking news alerts in the app. And get the full story with bbc.com/news. Follow the story for all the latest with BBC News.
This is BBC World News. I'm Christian Fraser. Our top stories. A stunning reversal on US job figures, defying all forecasts. 2.5 million jobs were added last month as states begin to reopen. President Trump says the recovery is underway.
So we were able to close our country, save millions of lives, open, and now the trajectory is great.
The number of coronavirus deaths in the UK has passed 40,000. The number of people infected continues to fall, with 1 in every 1,000 people. We'll be bringing you live coverage from the British government's daily news conference, which is about to begin. In Brazil, 1,500 people have died from coronavirus in a single day, which means Brazil is now the 3rd most badly affected country in the world. And drive-in concerts for music fans. We'll take a look at how the world of K-pop is adjusting to the coronavirus pandemic. Hello and welcome.
Hello, how are you? Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Why are you late? You didn't listen to the latest news.
I was searching for the password.
But it's the same.
Yeah, but I forgot it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm the same person always. Dasha, why are you late?
I was busy with my preparing for the exam.
I see.
Sorry.
Yeah, I understand. Everybody is busy, except for me. Okay, I'm never busy. I'm a happy guy. Okay, Anastasia.
I'm good. I'm not busy too.
Okay.
I'm not preparing for exams.
Okay. All right. So, how is everybody doing?
I'm great.
That's okay. Just keep on talking.
Well, I'm pretty fine too. I went to a hair salon finally.
Okay.
That's why my mood is good.
Okay. Well, not the saloon, but salon, because saloon, you know, that's for the cowboys. Never forget about that. Saloon is, you understand, where the cowboys shoot each other like two opposing gangs, like gangsters. That's a saloon. But hair salon, it's slightly different. It's 1-0. Saloon is double O, and salon is 1-0. Okay, Dasha, how about you?
Today I tried to do the birdhouse. I've lost, I think, for about 4 hours, and I've done nothing. But I've made up for lost time by the evening.
Yeah, and
That's why I was busy.
yeah, you said that you were getting prepared for the exam. So how does it connect? Making the birdhouse and getting prepared for the exam for 4 hours, making a birdhouse. How does that connect with preparing for the exam?
I tried to do that birdhouse in the morning, but then I realized that I've done nothing. And after that, I started preparing for the exam.
Okay, I understand. I'm just kidding. Pay no attention to that. Anastasia, what's new?
I helped my grandparents in the garden. We with vegetables, and also I for about 3 hours, and after this I haven't done nothing. I haven't done anything.
Yeah, that's understandable. I understand. So, first of all, yeah, probably, do we know you, Anastasia? Do we know you? Are you for the first time here, or this is not the first time you here?
I was here in last year in December, and yes, and it's my second time here.
Okay, yeah, very good. You are very welcome. And if you please remind, where are you from?
I am from Cheboksary, from Chuvasha.
Anything about yourself, just like let us remember, and people will just tell you about themselves.
About me, I am Anastasia. I'm Nastya. I like drawing and reading books. Yes, it's all.
Okay, very good, excellent. So before we start today's class, I just wanted you to know that probably no other people will show up tonight, because see, there was no announcement on the main website, on the main webpage, which is YEGA 100. And I have no idea why. I sent the request why they didn't put the announcement about my class, but they didn't answer. So probably, see, they get everything ready for the announcement for half a year, and maybe or until summer. Maybe this is they think that this is summer right now for them. I'm not sure, but in any case, they didn't have the announcement, so probably we will be only 3 of us. But anyway, that's all right. So the question of the week is about reading. You know that most of the exams they have this question about some kind of a personal data and personal information. what I want you to talk about is, let's say that there was a book, like when you were pretty young, you use the flashlight for reading during the night, and you just hid under the blanket with this flashlight, reading this book because this book was so good. You couldn't help stop reading this book. Can you think of what kind of book was that? Come on, please, guys, start talking. Yeah, see, it's boring when we do not have these punks or thugs and so on. It's kind of a very quiet classroom. I haven't used to this quiet classroom. You know, usually it's lots of yelling and swear words, but tonight is very quiet. But anyway, just please make your input, contribute a little bit.
I actually have no idea.
So there was no such book which you wanted to read over and over again and which you couldn't stop reading?
Yes, I just read one book one time, then I just put it on my shelf where I keep books, and that's all. I start reading another one.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the same.
Yeah. Because you know that this is not my question. This is kind of the question of one of the very famous teachers, professors in the world. His name is Stephen Krashen, and his point is that this kind of book and these types of books, they made you literate in any possible way, in your native language or in the second language. So that is why you have to remember the book which made you literate. And this might be the topic of the essay for the Russian national exam. Like, do you think that books can make you literate? Because I think in the year 2014 there was the topic for the essay, what makes computer literacy or digital literacy or something like that. So just please think of something. If you ask me, I can tell you, I can name pretty many titles of the books, like The Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. That was the book which I read and reread for many times. I have no idea why, but I did that. Then I loved the books by Alexander Kuprin, then Konstantin Paustovsky, lots of books by them. I love them a lot. So I can keep on talking about those books. So just guys, join me.
Oops, sorry, misclicked. Well, I want to say something. Actually, one book which I read 3 times, and that was Robinson Crusoe from Daniel Defoe. That's as for me, it's pretty. It's not pretty. It's a very interesting book with a lot of with the interesting sujet.
plot.
With the interesting plot, and I wanted to read it again and again, but when I finished reading it my third time, I just said, well, I have to stop. I want to read something new for me.
Okay.
Well, that's okay.
That's all right. Yeah, just keep on saying. You wanted to finish.
Yeah, and that's the only book which I read 3 times.
Okay. So the question is, did you read it in English or in Russian?
Of course, I read it in Russian because those time English was pretty hard for me to understand. And I didn't have English variant of this book.
Yeah, I understand. But see, right now we have very different versions of most of the famous books, like the adaptations. And these adaptations are, let's say, for different levels of readers. Like, let's say the first level might be only for the people who know 1,000 English words. Then the second level is for 2,000, the third 3,000, and fourth, and the sixth level is 6,000 English words, which is not too much. So that means that it's about time for you, and you still have some time to read the Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe in English. So I just encourage you, if you said that that was the book, that means that it will give you a lot. It will do you a lot of good, because you know that you will be reading probably without, of course, not the original, because original, like you know, our old Russian books like Convision, Недоросль will be very difficult for reading of the modern American student of the Russian language. But if you have these adaptations, like I can show it to you right now without any preparation. If you go and look for the adaptation of Robinson Crusoe, you will have tons and tons of it, millions, very different adaptations, and they might be very colorful pictures, and like comics or whatever, comic strips, whatever. So just you will see that if you enjoyed reading when you were younger, right now it will be much easier for you to read it in English, because you know the story, you know what this book is about, and it will do you lots and lots of good, as I said, because you know you will see that, like Stephen Krashen said, that it will make you literate, but now it will make you literate in the English language. And so I have also like lots of English books in my home library, which I read when I was like your age. I mean in English, because of course, you know, I went to the so-called emphasized English high school. So we had 6 classes of English every week. And of course, one of the classes was so-called home reading. And for home reading, we read very different books. We had the special class, which was called the English literature. So, of course, we talked about Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe, and Oliver traveled and Shakespeare's plays and so on. So that's amazing. So girls, do you want to join us? Yeah.
I want to say something.
Yeah, please.
I've recently tried to read Robinson Crusoe in English. Even the adapted version was so difficult to me, because there were so many professional vocabulary.
Yeah, but Dasha, my point was slightly different. Did you read this book in Russian previously?
No.
So that's the point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the point. So we are talking about your book, which was very popular with you, the book which you loved reading, which you couldn't stop, and you just was on the edge of your seat. You was just reading and reading and reading more and more and more. You couldn't stop reading. So if you can think of the book like that, then we can try look and find the English version, and probably this book will be much easier for you to read. So that was the point of Stephen Krushen. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, Nastya, what do you think?
I like reading, but it's so difficult. I didn't some words. Like Dostoevsky, показания.
The connection with you is very poor. I'm so sorry about that. I cannot understand not a single word. I don't know how about Dasha and Mark. Dasha, Mark, can you understand what Nastya is saying?
It's sometimes the internet doesn't work. Sorry. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
It's okay. Is
it better?
Okay. I think I like book Dostoevsky, Преступление и наказание.
All right, that's the Crime and Punishment.
Yes, Crime and Punishment, and I have tried to read it. This it's so difficult because there are lots of heavy difficult words, and but it was so good because I know the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, just listen the sound which is coming from you to understand. So that's not that easy to get you. Okay.
Heavy difficult words, and but it was so good because I know the plot.
Okay, just listen the sound. So you see, it's a pretty poor connection with you from your side, because Mark and Dasha. So again, Mark and Dasha, can you hear Nastya in a very intelligible manner? So do you understand every word?
I understood not every word, but something, and I understood from her words.
Okay, Dasha, how about you?
No, we're poor connection.
Okay, yeah, but anyway, so I see that you are not very much inclined in talking about reading, but you know me. Of course, I have something to do from the book, but before that, I just want to get you involved in the conversation. So, you know that, yeah, please.
I have something.
Yeah, please do. Go ahead.
I've just missed my turn.
Okay.
My first book in English was The Little Prince.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very philosophical book, and it made me think of my way of life and the way of life of others. So I recommend it. I would recommend it to you.
Okay. Can you think of some vocabulary which you picked up from this book?
No, it's not too hard for me. It was not too hard for me.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. So, guys, what I wanted to say is you are not very much involved. You are not very much excited about this topic, but you know that usually, as I said, that's the question of the week. That means that I ask this question almost all of my students. I mean, people of very different ages, and you won't believe most of them, they found this topic very, very exciting, and they got very much involved. And let me just quote a little bit of what they had to say. So first of all, most of them, they they mentioned the fantasy stories. And so what I mean by fantasy stories is the Lord of the Rings, then the Chronicles of Narnia, and then they talked also about very different other fantasy books. And if you want to, I can give you these titles. So many books about space travel, also kind of a fantasy. Then of course, most of them, they mentioned Harry Potter as one of the best reading ever. So also what they mentioned, let me see, I even cannot remember everything which they meant. Yeah. Another thing was they mentioned a couple of people, not one, mentioned the Wizard of Oz as one of the best they're reading, both in Russian and in English when they were very small kids. Then yeah, that's about it for now. So the question to you is, what do you think about all of these fantasy style books, about Harry Potter, about Wizard of Oz, and so on and so forth? Just keep on, please.
I'm not interested in fantasy, and I can't explain why, but I think it's no point in fantasy books.
So you mean
What
that
do you think?
you didn't read the Lord of the Rings, the Chronicles of Narnia, and Harry Potter?
No, not that.
Not a single one. You didn't read the Harry Potter?
No,
Okay,
I didn't.
I understand. So that's kind of a, for the first time in my life, I hear that the person would say, what is that? He didn't read the Harry Potter. All right.
It was just a message.
Okay. Anybody else?
Well, what I can say, I was listening what Dasha was saying about fantasy books, and I can say that the books are not always created to get more knowledge for them or make yourself much clever. Books like fantasy are created to relax. They're kind of the thing to rest. Rest for your brain. I think like that.
Okay. Yeah. Anastasia.
I agree with Dasha.
Mhm.
I prefer realism in books than fantasy.
The what kind of books?
Realism. Realism. Ну, как это...
Okay, yeah, I understand. All right, yeah, I got you.
And yes.
Well, I would call it real life stories, or you know, for me it's just real life stories. Yeah, that's what would I say. But you know that when a writer writes a book, in my understanding, it's not always real life story is kind of a documentary, but most of the books we are talking about today is not documentaries. It's just so-called fiction. Fiction is in the Russian word is literature. In English, it's called fiction. Well, I'm very much surprised that you never read the books like Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings or you know, Chronicles of Narnia. That's very unusual for me to hear that. Okay.
Why do you like these books?
Me?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never told you that I like the books like that. These books are not from my generation at all, and I mentioned several times that I tried to read the Harry Potter, and it was you won't believe it was in the year when was the first book was published I might be wrong here, somewhere in the 1990s. And so that was only the beginning, the end of the 1990s. It was only the beginning of the internet in Russia. And at that very time, I didn't have the, let's say, the very stable connection of the internet in my study in the high school, or more to that in my house. So the meaning is that if I wanted to have the internet connection, I should have gone to some places, some public places where they had, it was called so-called internet cafes. But anyway, even at that time, it was possible for me. One of my students, he had a very good internet connection at that time because he worked for the IT company at that time. And so he downloaded for me the first book of Harry Potter. And beginning with this end of 1990s, I tried now and then, from time to time, back and forth, to read Harry Potter for many, many times. And the only problem is that I can read one or at most 2 pages, and then I lose the train of thought. I just usually catch myself in that I'm thinking about something else. I'm looking through the lines. I'm reading the lines with my eyes, but my brain is not connected with my reading. I'm thinking about something else. That was the first book in my life when I was reading and thinking about something else. I didn't think about what I was reading, and so there was no connection with this reading. I had to start reading over again, so I started reading this page over again. And again, by the end of the page, I understood that I'm not reading. I'm just looking at the letters. Have no idea why, because that's definitely not the book for me. As I said, that at your age or younger, the best book for me was the Three Musketeers by Alexander Dumas. So that's about Harry Potter. If you ask me about Lord of the Rings, I never read not a single book by Tolkien, and I never read the Chronicles of Narnia, which is C.S. Lewis. Even I know a lot about the biography of this writer. I mean, C.S. Lewis. He's kind of a very unusual biography. Like, he used to be, or his wife used to be, a communist, and then he became a strong believer in God, and so that is why it gave him the possibility to write that kind of books and so on. So I have no idea. But again, I didn't read these books. But I was talking to many students of mine. I mean, of course, older than you, and most of them, that's not myself. I started the conversation about that books. It's with you I started, but in the first place, I didn't start this conversation. My students started. So if you give me any hints, any prompts, what kind of literature you would like me to read, I would be more than happy. And you know that that's my point. I usually want to listen to what my students will have to say. And I'm very sorry to say that, but you never recommended me anything. As of Daniel Defoe's, it was on my reading list when I was in this emphasized English high school, and I had to read it. I had to watch the movie, and we discussed this movie, and we read some essays about that. So that's a very different story. So just recommend me something, what you think, what your generation, you guys think, which will be helpful for me to read. But not, of course, the Chronicles of Narnia or Tolkien books or Harry Potter.
As I said before, I would recommend you to read The Little Prince.
Well, of course.
Did you read it?
Yes, sure, of course. And I still have this book on my computer, the English version, of course. And I think that I read it with several groups of students working for some night schools. I read The Little Prince, definitely.
My first book in Russia was just let me recall.
Yeah.
I remember